Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our rare afternoon edition of the RedSeaPodcast. This is Dennis, like always, and I really couldn't miss this one because it's a performance we rarely see from Olympiacos. It's a performance that happens twice a year, but it's a performance that I really don't mind. But we'll get into everything. Before that, as always, welcome. Whether you are new, whether you've watched before, welcome. This is one of the few at this rate solo shows. And something I wanted to point out before we get into the game, whether you're watching after as well for a future stream, solo shows are usually open lines. If you go to the comments, you'll see a link. If you so wish to join up, you can copy that link into Google and join up with me for your voice to be heard and your opinions and questions to be answered, like always. Discussion is what this show runs on, and it really wouldn't be truly RSP without open opinions. But yeah, let's get into it. Last show, I went on and said that under Barjokas, Olympiacos will never really go on and win games offensively. I forgot Paris. I forgot that twice a year we have to adapt to these teams. And let's be honest with ourselves. We have to adapt with these teams. Annoying style of basketball. We have to adapt with this sprint competition type of basketball that Paris likes to play. And every time we needed to adapt, we see a team that's nothing like the Olympiacos we're used to seeing, but we see an Olympiacos that can play Paris cards better than them. We saw an offensive-based Olympiacos that seemingly couldn't miss for a half, especially a half. We saw an offensive Olympiacos that worked like we have no injury record. Like you forgot for a bit that our two most consistent players were deemed unavailable. And you saw an Olympiacos that looked very, very confident. Like it seemed like everyone was on a perfect night. Of course, the game did start. The party, may I as well say, did start with Alec Peters and Tyler Dorsey leading the lines with 12 and 11 each. We'll get into them as well in the first quarter. And of course, it wasn't only them, as we broke the all-time Euroleague record for threes made in a half of basketball with 13 out of 19, as we finished the game with a whopping 57% with 17 out of 30 from long range. Just amazing is an understatement. We'll get into more detail, but from Nilikina to Alec to Dorsey to Evan and to whoever you want to bring up, to Corey Joseph, we were seemingly flawless for a majority of the game from long range. And that's something we rarely see from Olympiacos. Even Zach McKissick, I think, had one for himself. If I'm not mistaken, I'll check that out in a bit. But that's something yesterday as a whole was something you rarely see from Olympiacos, because up until probably the end of the third, it looked like an all-star game. It's exactly what I meant by the very annoying style of basketball that Paris plays. It's an athletic, fast-paced, barely any defense, long-range game. And we adapted once again. We adapted, even though B had some moments of going a bit insane, rightfully so, may I as well say. But we once again proved superiority against a team that used their style. Like Paris aren't as well. They're not Villeurbanne. Paris have used their style effectively to beat Barcelona, to beat Real Madrid, and to beat Panathinaikos. Even though Iraklis can do that, and Kolossos, but so that's not much of a statement anymore. But Real Barcelona especially, it's, and I'm not saying this disrespectfully, I feel like you all will grasp the meaning. It's an athletic freak show. Like, they're super athletes, all of them. But they have weaknesses, a lot of them. And we used their own cards to exploit those weaknesses. And even if the game kept getting close, like 4 points, 5 points, it never really got closer than that. The difference could have even been much, much bigger. It really could have. But the game never really got close in hindsight. Like, we were never really in danger. I'm pretty sure. Let me actually double check that, but I'm pretty sure that Paris didn't lead. Yeah, Paris never led the game. It's insane. And we only really faltered quarter score-wise in the second, which the second quarter finished 33-30, which is crazy, by the way. But the rest quarters finished, the first quarter finished 22-33. The third quarter finished 16-24. And the fourth, of course, in which everything was basically settled. And we used the final 5 minutes to just get the lead up as much as humanly, truly possible again. It finished 16-17. Now, there isn't really much more to say generally wise, because, as I said, there's nothing to point out about true Olympiacos basketball, because that wasn't it. It was a show for sure, especially offensively. But that just wasn't Olympiacos basketball. And again, as I said, I don't mind it. But it's a style of basketball that doesn't win anything serious. That's why we only adapt to it twice a year when we play the only team that plays like that. But yeah, in general, we had 54% from the field goals in general. I don't know why my brain just malfunctioned there. I apologize. Something I wanted to point out as well, the rebounds. There was no competition. And you know what? I'll get to that. Nobody. We knew that Paris didn't really have anyone as a true big. We knew that there would be no contesting. Nico Milutinov specifically. And let me actually pull up the 2 stat lines I want to talk about. But yeah, Nico Milutinov specifically had an absolute field day. And both offensively and defensively, this man was on 9 points, 5 rebounds, 4 of which were defensive. and 3 steals with a block to his name. Nico Milutinoff, who of course is still playing with a fractured thumb, mind you, had no one to really stand up to him. Paris, of course, as we know, have one true center. So whenever rotation happened, as much as Nico's playstyle didn't really fit this game, we're still talking about Nikola Milutinov. So even when a game doesn't really fit him, because we are talking about a giant, we are talking about an absolute beast of a player, he'll still perform up to maybe not his standards, especially this season, but up to a star standard and be very, very crucial. But that's not really my focus. My focus is that I expected this game to fit Donta Hall more than it would fit Tyreek Jones, because Donta's biggest positive is just his athleticism and his explosive playstyle. I think that's the best way to put it. But I really didn't expect Donta to play that well. And of course, he got the majority of game time from himself and Tyreek, playing 14 minutes, putting up 10 on 100%. Maybe that, I don't know if they were all dunks, but they certainly were all drives, with 4 rebounds, 3 defensive, and a block to his name. I mean, that's half the win. Those two are half the win. No one could really put up a fight when the ball went down low, and no one really tried to put up a fight. The first half, Paris defensively was lost. It looked like we were playing Villeurbanne. But in the second half, when they adapted a bit more and stuff calmed down, we leaned more towards that game, even though it didn't happen fully. Still nothing. It was either someone open from long range, or it was either someone open in the paint. They couldn't keep up for absolutely nothing. And again, I saw people saying that, yeah, the difference, the win could have been bigger and such. And yeah, it could have. But you are playing with a team that when they get going offensively, they're almost impossible to stop. They really are. And such, as I said, we come to the point I made just before. Yeah, the game got close-ish, but we never really were seriously going to be threatened by Paris. And I talked about him. I talked about him both yesterday, as he was the game's and my own MVP. And I've talked about him many times. I've pointed out a lot of stuff in regards to him. And that's, of course, the man on a mission to prove himself right and everybody wrong. And that's, of course, Tyler Dorsey. Tyler Dorsey, who once again completely balled out. It's indescribable what he's doing. In 28, he put up 24 with 67% from long range, making 4 out of his 6 with a defensive rebound, 5 assists, and a steal. What's there to say about Tyler? First of all, it's the thing that we've all witnessed when Tyler makes his first shot, and especially when it's a 3, you know that his night's gonna go well. And 9 times out of 10 this season, he's got some amazing nights. But it was funny. Like, I'm not even saying this to to diminish Tyler, but seeing him go up, score a contested three, and go back and foul for Paris to get 3 free throws, I think I laughed for a solid 2 minutes. But on a more serious note, like there isn't really any complaints you can have by Tyler Dorsey because he's flawless in his game. We knew his talent, we knew his hard work, but the two things he's added, he's worked on clearly, very carefully, very much, is his defensive efforts. Because I'm sorry, I'll point this out until it gets tiring, seeing Tyler Dorsey ball out offensively and then run back and have the same energy defensively, getting himself steals, blocks, covering off ball, contesting shots seemingly perfectly. That's very much combining with the thing that I'm about to say, but that in and of itself will be half the reason of this team's success, and I'm standing on that. Because in addition to the maturity that he's added to his game and the peace of mind, perhaps, that he has on and off the court, those combined make the best Tyler Dorsey, not that we have seen, that we could have imagined. Because I think if you go pre-season, this pre-season, I don't think anyone could have called. I mean, I don't think there was any doubts, seriously, in Tyler's ability or that he could have been good. But I don't think that there is anyone that could have seriously called that Tyler Dorsey would have been one of, if not our best player consistently this season. I mean, I pride myself in the trust I put in Nico Milutinov ever since before the season started. But I could have never ever predicted how truly crucial Tyler Dorsey would be this season. And speaking of a man that needed some consistency, a man that needed a game to himself, not to necessarily prove anything, but to remember and remind who he is. And that's Alec Peters, of course. Alec, who, along with Tyler Dorsey, really led the charge for this game to be what it was. And Alec, who, of course, reminded us all who he is. And in 28 minutes of game time, he put up 18 with 4 out of 7 threes, 4 defensive rebounds, 4 assists, and a steal. And I've been calling this for about a month or two. I've been saying wait, because people really forgot who Alec Peters is. People really forgot how much he can contribute, and perhaps he forgot himself a bit. Stuff got to him, you don't know. You really don't know what can affect a player behind the scenes of the court. But there was always belief. And I've been a harsh critic of Alec, as I have been of Sasha, as I have been of Van, as I have been of everybody. Because I know that Alec was not how he was playing in the EuroLeague. I know that Alec was truly how he was playing in the JBL. And he could show that in the EuroLeague. He has many a time before. and he did again. And I'm not saying that Alec needs to do that, like game in, game out. But he needed a game to find the confidence that he deserves to have in the end of the day, to be Alec again, to be that comfort for Vezenkov to fall back on, that player that will maybe give you 10 minutes if Sasha's on a good night and gives you 30. But those 10 minutes he'll get 12 points from probably 4 threes. Alec was great, and I'm very, very, very happy that he got a game like that. And I'm going to say this confidently, that given we play another double week next week, I wouldn't risk Vezenkov against Monaco, given how they are. I'd still give the game to Alec. But that's on Coach V. Do let me know what you think on that. But I'd still probably give the game to Alec and let Sasha get back to, like, no doubt, confidently 100%. I'm not saying it will be an easy game, because even Monaco, in the worst case scenarios, will always find a way to be a pain on our side. But I'm more than confident with Alec getting the game and letting Sasha rest a bit more. And moving on to the man that you can't convince me wasn't born in Piraeus, wasn't just abducted from Caminia and brought to France when he was a baby. Moving on to the man that is loving life, that was celebrating the Gate 7 scarf and posing for the fans, posing with the fans before the game. Moving on to Evan Fournier. And speaking of momentum games, Evan once again showed up, showed out, and in 19 he put up 17 with 3 out of 5 from 3 for himself, picking up 2 defensive rebounds and putting up 2 assists. Evan's a leader. We've said that before. And I've always tried to be as unbiased as I can with Evan, because I love the guy. He's one of my favorite players. But as I said with Alec, as I said with Sasha, when needed, I've tried to be a harsh critic with him as well, because I know he's an unbelievable player. I know he's an unbelievable player. The world knows he's an unbelievable player. Evan himself knows he's an unbelievable player. And once again, he showed it. Momentum threes, incredible defense, playmaking when needed, loving life even if his role is from the bench now, loving the team, leading the team on and off the court. And I think there is nothing to say in regards to Evan Fournier, rather than just, it's insane that he's not just playing for Olympiacos, he's loving it here. And I couldn't be happier for that. I really, really couldn't be happier for that. And speaking of someone that's really seeming to love it here, speaking of someone that we were way too fast to judge, speaking of someone that Coach B is very much, not that there was any doubt, but that Coach B is very much protecting and really, really believes in, and that's Corey Joseph. Corey Joseph, and we'll get to Frank Ntilikina in a bit, but him and Ntilikina have stepped up not to 100%, to 200% of their game. And of course, with a player that has over 900 games in the NBA. Only in Greece could we have called him a bad player after 3. And it's what I said last time. There are some issues. You can see them. But if he works on what he needs to work on and reaches a EuroLeague level of availability and consistency, we'll probably have one of our not just most talented point guards, but one of our most true out and out point guards that we've had probably ever since Kostas Loukas. I'm sorry, but the fact that I saw Corey ask for an ISO, beat the man guarding him, and pull up for a contested 3, I think I celebrated that, and he made it. I'm pretty sure he made it. I think I celebrated that play as much as I celebrated the win. It's crazy. He's an insanely talented player. We knew that. But the fact that he's actually adapting very fast and the time management, even with walk-up out for hopefully not that much longer, hopefully walk-up's back on the weekend. But even with walk-up out where more falls on his shoulders, he's performing perfectly. I said that the main thing he needed to find, aside from fitness and reaching the EuroLeague level, was confidence. And God knows he's found that confidence. He's great, still needs to work on some stuff, but if he does and the team deems him consistent enough, God would I be happy to keep him for next season. We'll see though. We'll see how that goes. We'll see. The team will see and we'll all see on the court. But I'm very, very happy with how stuff is going with Corey Joseph. And just for the convo of it, in 25 minutes of game time, he put up 10, putting up 2 threes and 1 mid-range with 2 free throws. He picked up 4 rebounds, 3 defensively, 1 offensive. He had 1 assist and a steal to his name. And that's the thing with Corey Joseph. He's not just offensively talented, he's just a playmaker, not even a scorer, but mainly a playmaker. He's very, very good and very, very hardworking defensively as well. And perhaps that's the craziest part of it all. I spoke about him. It's the best thing to move straight to him after talking about how truly impressive Corey Joseph was. And that's, of course, Frank Ntilikina. Frank's career at Olympiacos really didn't start great. Constant injuries, inconsistency, the lack of game time due to the injuries, not helping him find form. And then suddenly, with a snap, walk-up's out. And he needs to play. And Morris is still out. Morris is still not ready. And he needs to play. He needs to step up. And I think just before Thomas Walker got injured, we started to see just glimpses of why we got Frank Ntilikina in. And I think that brought the worry down a bit. even though everyone, as soon as our most consistent guy gets injured, everyone's worried, right? But along with Corey Joseph, he's been playing, as I said, at 200%. Truly 200%. In 18 minutes, he put up 6 with 2 3-pointers. Mind you, he picked up 2 defensive rebounds, he had 2 assists, and that's it. I thought he had the steal as well, but no, that's that. And as I said last show, as I'll say this show, and as I'll probably say many times, this man's defensive effort is why we brought him in. Even if he does the basics above average, I'll be very happy with him. But he showed up insanely, honestly. He showed up insanely. And as not start for this game, Monaco tomorrow, when this is being recorded and posted. Monaco just this morning officially lost Vasilis Panoulis, but we've known that since last week. Monaco are in a spiral of chaos. They don't know if they'll be in the Euroleague next season. They don't know if they'll be a club next season with how things are going. They are 8, 9 players, and they're crumbling. I'm not going to say it's an easy game, and I'll knock on wood, but if we show up seriously, I feel like we'll cruise back. It will be a controlled game. It won't be a big difference, but it will be a controlled game. And I feel like we'll cruise back, and I'll stand on the opinion that I wouldn't risk Sasha Bezenkos. I'd give the game to Alec Ritter. But yeah, that's all I had to say. Really, I'm very happy. I'm very happy with how stuff is going. And honestly, very excited for the games coming up. I'm very excited for the final stretch of the regular, and I'm very excited for playoff basketball. Yeah. Knock on wood, everyone stays healthy. That's it from me. Hope you all enjoyed, whether you're listening to this right after, whether you're listening to this later tonight, or whenever, before the Monaco game, after the Monaco game. Just thank you all for the insane support. Yesterday's RSC episode did amazingly. It's the first full Greek episode on this channel, first full Greek interview on this channel. So do go check that out if you haven't yet. You showed that all the love in the world. Also, yesterday, along with Olympiacos' birthday, it was Aris Pig. And I posted a very, very emotional message on socials. And I am gonna tear up again. For those of you that haven't seen, just for me to not tire you all out and repeat myself, I am truly eternally grateful for all you've given me through RSP, for even lifting up the brand and the platform to be what it is and to be what it's destined to be. And with stuff being fully back in motion, with me being once again better than ever, thanks to all of you guys. A lot of stuff is gonna come. Stuff that should have been here, but it wasn't for life reasons will come better than ever. Stuff that is planned on the way will come greater than ever imagined. And this year's gonna be big. I promise you all that, as always, I'll represent you all rightfully and as The Olympiacos fan base deserves to be represented. And all the unbelievable support that you give me, I will, without exaggeration, do all I can and then some to give it back tenfold. I don't know if you'll see me tomorrow or on Friday, but whenever it is, as always, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.